everyone. Happy New Year 2023. Welcome to season 4, episode 1 of Viva Cafe con Leche with these two fabulous ladies. I am the badass Buddha and
the gladiator guru.
woo! Happy New Year, everyone. I don't have any we came with nothing. We came equipped with nothing. Well, you have your earrings, so that's something. And I have my spectacular. So welcome everyone to a new season of Viva Cafe con Leche. We are so happy you are here. This is going to be an incredible year. We have made some phenomenal changes this year, and we're not changes, but we've decided to do some different things this year, and we are going to announce them on Thursday. Primarily because neither of us have our notes, and we're so not prepared for today.
We're so ready for the year.
That's exactly right. We may not be prepared with our notes for the announcement, but we are prepared. So good morning, Milagros, and good morning, Gail, the Empowering Princess podcast on YouTube. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow, all that fun stuff. So, Gladiator Guru, I know you celebrated your New Year's Eve working, but how was it? I think, again, because you were there Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, those individuals were very blessed to have you in their presence. So how did it go? Were you by midnight? Or did
it was at midnight. We had a girl training and then one that I normally work with on the other shifts, and we're watching the board drop from our phones, and a co-worker from the earlier shift had left a bottle of mimosa, pineapple mimosa.
Nice.
And so we got the little like water cups. They're little. So I filled them up, and then one of the residents, she comes by. She's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Are we having a celebration?" So I gave her the ones you put the pills in. Put some in there for her, and when we're like, it's countdown to midnight, and we're counting down, and she's like so excited, and then we all lift our cups and say salud and drink our little mimosa, and she was like, oh. I almost felt normal there for a moment.
Oh,
and that's how you know that dementia, it's just like a wave, and some of them, they're like with such clarity, and I think laughter and excitement like brings them to the normal reality. So you know what? Happy New Year, Tiffany, Milagros, Gail.
Happy New Year.
So I was happy for that. Normally I was like, I can't believe I'm working all these holidays, and then I'm at work, and you did leave me a beautiful voice message saying that very thing, that I'm at work, but really, does it suck? No, I think our program thinking that on a holiday we need to be at certain place with certain people, or it's a fail.
I agree.
And what I discovered working on Thanksgiving, a couple days later on my birthday, on Christmas Eve, on Christmas Day, on New Year's Eve, on New Year's Day, that what you are what's going on at every time. So I was Thanksgiving, I was Christmas. So it was where I was that I made it. And I say this now because the holiday's over, and I didn't feel like I was cheated. Does that make sense?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And gotcha. I think, we're talking about, new beginnings, new seasons, and all of this. And I'm looking at myself like I never even took a job that required me to work weekends. And here I am. I don't know
ever in your life?
No, I don't.
Wow, that's funny.
No, my time was always my time. I've always valued my time and what I did with it. And then here I am. Not only am I working weekends, I'm working holidays. and I'm working crazy hours where I go in at 3 o'clock and I'm out and it's midnight, you can say. And I'm like, oh, then I come home and then I can't sleep. And then I finally fall asleep and it's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So my whole schedule was shot. So changes are coming for my health, for my overall health, my thought processing, my skin. And because you're constantly wearing gloves there because it's a facility where you have to change diapers. And so my skin's getting dry. So for my health's sake as well, and my sanity. Not that I won't go visit the residents on the weekends that I'm gonna have off going forward. Because I think I will. Because people just become part of your family, no matter where you meet them at.
I
So yeah.
agree.
And yours? How was yours?
New Year's Eve was fun. We had I went over my friend Bernie's house, and she had the adults and the kids. The kids had an absolute blast, as did the adults. There was so much freaking food. Like, it was just one of those dreams that you have where you walk in and there's just every table or space has like something to eat on it, and like all different varieties. And you're like the happiest ever. Like when you're walking in going, oh my, like I just want to eat every single thing on there, and because there were so many between uh Italian dishes, Puerto Rican dishes, Portuguese dishes, it's like you got to try like, all these different things, and then the American dishes, so that was a lot of fun, and the kids just had an absolute blast. And that was probably the first time that I have been to a party in years for New Year's Eve. Not had nothing to do with COVID. I just was never, either I hosted or I just didn't go, and let alone stay up till midnight. A lot of times, even those parties, I would leave before midnight and just kind of quietly uh here in the new year, um from my house, but we stayed there till about 1 o'clock in the morning, and we had it was good. It was a lot of fun, and we were all exhausted the next day. Like, we got up late. I don't like getting up late. So I got up late, and then when you just sort of, I know you feel this because your sleep schedule's off, where you feel like you can't get your rhythm for the day because you're like, whatever. And so that night I was at 7 o'clock, I was literally falling asleep on the couch, and yeah, the next couple of nights were not much better. So yeah, it's funny, but it was great. It was around a lot of wonderful people, and considering the fact that I was supposed to have not be here, like not be, I would have been ringing in the new year, quietly with my kids in a new location, and that will be the case next year. That's the goal for ringing in the new year this year coming, because my tent is still to move. Um, but yeah, but it was nice. Thank you.
See, and that's all that matters. It does. And yeah, you're right. Things change, but it's how you handle them, right?
Shift, flow,
Absolutely.
reset. It is what it is. And that's, I think well, before we get into the conversation, because so one of the things that we're going to tell you that we're doing a little bit differently on Viva is that we've decided to dedicate a whole entire month to one particular subject or topic. And the reason we can't talk further is because we don't remember what our subjects and topics are for the rest of the upcoming months. But we do know this one, though, and this one is awareness. So the whole month of January is dedicated to awareness. And each quarter, where everything kind of works together. So whatever we discuss in January, February, March is all going to coincide together. And the goal is to build up each quarter almost like a massive coaching element, like, so it's kind of all works together to help build you up, so that by the end of the year you're getting into that December, and you're going to be like grasping on very, like you have the strong hold onto your life and to yourself, and you're going to walk into the end of the year feeling very, very confident. That's our goal. So that's what we're going to talk about, is awareness. So today starts the conversation. It all starts with awareness. It's not like we've never spoken about this before. We have, but we're really going to get into it um, with each single episode for the entire month. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we always appreciate all your input coming in.
Yes.
But before we do that, let's set our intention, because I have to do mom duty in a little bit. In about 10 minutes, I got to go walk my kid outside. Some things never change with the new year, right? So let's set our intention and let's do our mantra. Okay. So um, that's not changed because intention is important. So the intention for today is to be intentional. You set your intention for whatever it needs to be, and I'm sure you've thought about this, because New Year's resolutions, technically it's another way of saying intention, except we're giving a time frame to it. But New Year's resolutions can be set any time of the year, as that's why we say intentions. So set your intention for whatever it is today. It could be a small thing, a goal, or it could be just, I want to be happy today. Today I just want to be very at peace no matter what I do or where I go today. So you set your intention as you would like. And Gladiator Guru,
And be grateful in doing such. Walk into 2023. I'm not going to say a new year. The numbers change. Walk into 2023. Sashay your ass into
strut,
2023
whatever.
with the intentions that you will handle anything and everything that is thrown at you, anything and everything that you must walk through, and everything and anything that you deserve. Greet them all the same. Give it your attention, but not your energy. Because if it's something that you have to deal with it and keep going, no looking back. If it's something you are making a life change to, of course you're going to dedicate yourself to it, but make sure it's something you're going to dedicate yourself to. Don't make a resolution anytime this month, please. Ride the wave. You just went through Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And I think some of us went through it in one weekend, but you just went through all of that. So your money's low because of the Christmas season. And I'm not only speaking about gifts that you bought out. I'm speaking about those people who take pride in filling their house with things that every morning is gonna make them smile, even if they slept an hour. You know, the decorations you spent on. So, and now this month is really rest. If you look at it, January should be your rest month. That's probably why they added it hundreds of years after that.
You know what? That's a good point. You've made a really good point, because what does January tend to be for us? January tends to be the month that we go, go, go. New year, new me, new this, and we go. But that's actually not a bad consideration, Gladiator Guru, because
Because where we're going? Where we going? To aggravation, to make poor choices. If we're single, we got to hook up before February 14th. I mean, we're always thinking ahead. Chill. Use January to just relax and chill and get all your thoughts back with the holiday
yes,
rush.
yes,
And holidays for many is so much pressure because they have to find money or work extra hours because you're keeping up with the Joneses, or you have to buy your neighbor's cousin sister from down the street who has 4 kids something, and you're adding all this stress. And now that Christmas is over and you prep for it all month long, and then it's over as soon as the kids will unwrap the gifts and you're like, oh, okay. But it's not. We set it up that way. So use January. You're right. And that goes for us as well. Use January. What holidays are in January? Martin Luther King on the 18th, and what else? I think
my
that's it,
birthday.
right? Huh?
My birthday. That's a national
Your
holiday.
birthday and Anaya's birthday. Um,
Yeah, just that one. And so, well, you know what? This is beautiful actually. So this does start with awareness, because here's the awareness that I had yesterday was because I'm in that mindset too. The end of the year, reflect on the end of the year. How did you do? So I did my end of year reflection, and I realized I missed a couple of pieces. So I actually have to go back and reflect. So, but I was sort of like in this time frame of I got to reflect. It's the end of the year. I don't have a lot of time because January's here. But the reason why New Year's resolutions fail, because we don't fully commit to them because they're in that moment. I'm on this time frame. It's January. It's New Year. I have to do this. Whereas this is beautiful, Gladiator Guru, because if you take the time in January to actually slow down and rest and recover from your year and December, and give yourself that space to become aware of what worked and what did not work and what you really want in your life. So this is where the awareness starts. This is primarily why we wanted to do this anyway, but this goes beautifully with what you said, because if we take that moment and we are very clear on what we want and don't want, then we get to start in February and actually start then. Like
Mm-hmm.
we could set that into motion then. It's not saying you don't have to start things in January. It's just don't do it all at once. Don't throw that. That's why by within 6 to 8 weeks, so mid-February, most New Year's resolutions have gone out
They
by the,
fizz out.
because you're not committed to them, because that might not have been what you really want to do, or you maybe it is. Like the biggest one is always weight loss, right? People, I want to lose weight, I want to go to the gym, I'm going to take this new diet, but we don't sit and actually take the month to say, why do I want to lose this weight? What is it going to mean for me if I lose this weight? What am I going to look like? What's going to change in my life? Because habits are really hard to break, whether it's weight loss or it's other stuff. Habits are really hard to break. So the way you eat, how your emotions are, you have to become aware of all that stuff, or else you will fail time and time again. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why January is such a great awareness month.
Yep.
Plan, and yeah, you want to live in the present moment because that's where the awareness comes from. And there's nothing wrong with planning for the future, but be in that space. Say, God, I'm really tired. Like I'm exhausted. This was a hell of a year, or this was a hell of a month, or I busted my ass the last 2 weeks because of the holidays and I'm tired. So let me stop for a moment and breathe and decide, sit with myself and decide what's best for me for 2023.
I
Brilliant.
like that you said that. I like that you included
Brilliant.
God, because a lot of people don't. And then they're like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? I'm tired. But let me tell you something. What everything you just said, it was right on the money.
Oh,
When
we
you
didn't do our mantra. I just realized too. So finish what you're saying. Do we have to do our mantra?
um because when you wanna all that eating and exercising, everything that the badass Buddha just said is um true. And I think it was going back to the mantra part is, you know what? Be present in what you're doing right now. I'm always saying own your now and live in your moment. Why? Because that's all you have. So when you're starting now and with the weight loss, because we all want to, it's after the holidays. The holidays, everybody eats, everybody brings food. We that's how we were just raised. Okay, so now we're in January, right before Valentine's Day and then way before summer. Why don't you start by letting go of some of that baggage you feel you need? Let go of that resentment. Let go of that anger towards somebody who doesn't even think about you. Let go of your
Mm.
controlling little annoying personalities, because that's what they are. Stop setting yourself up for failure and blaming it on the world, and then you're going to overeat because it's comfort for many, many of us in the United States. So let's do that. Let's be aware of where we are standing right now, where our feet are planted. Where are we? and where we want to be in the next 3 months, and what we want to do and what we need to change. And guess what? It changes the palate. You crave less sweets because you're taking care of your you in other ways. So the cravings for the sweets stop. Your palate is wanting things that are different. Trust me, if you don't believe me, the doctor should tell you. We've been through these changes, and I'm telling you, it's what it is for me. And if it's for me, then it should be for the many of us. When we leave a lot of baggage behind, the we're gonna do our mantra now. Hold on. Gail said, spend a month, be aware of your triggers, and practice what you would do when triggered. Then you're prepared for 2023. And I wanted to get back to that real quick because you know what? What are triggers? They're unresolved issues that you're carrying around.
Yeah.
So when people say something or they're wearing a scent or, they're behaving a certain way,
they just show up.
and you're mad because they smell like that, because they said that, because they sang that song, because they're doing this. Oh, you're triggering me. No, take your ass back home and figure out what the triggers are, because they're unresolved issues you're carrying around and you're placing on others. And that's why our first season of Viva Cafe con Leche is to be aware. Be aware of those triggers. People, you will be triggered by certain things, especially like my husband who passed away. Every time I listen to George Michael's Careless Whispers, it always brings me back to Eric because that was his favorite song. But it's not a trigger to where I'm going to be like, oh my God, I can't. That's sorry, man. That's my issue if I don't want to think about Eric because it makes me sad. You know what? Eric was my husband. Eric had ALS. Eric passed away. Deal with it because it happened. I can't change it. I can't control it. So what do I do when I hear Careless Whispers? I sing it because that song made him happy. Why am I going to be like triggered? That's what we got to be. That's the awareness. The awareness is going to open many doors, mi gente. So if you're ready to take that step to heal yourself, follow Viva Cafe con Leche. If you are not subscribed, subscribe to all the platforms we're on, because we are on a mission. And here is our mantra.
And that's beautiful. That's exactly what it is. We are on a mission. So here's our mantra. Here we go. Say it loud, say it proud. And then I got to go to the bus stop. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And here we go, folks. I live my truth.
And I keep it real.
We have changed that last sentence because it is about truth. Authenticity is used a lot, but we want to celebrate our truth. And with that, take over, Gladiator Guru. I will be back shortly.
Yes. Okay, so what I was saying. Where am I? Okay. So yes, and so thank you, Gail, for bringing that up, because I was having a conversation with somebody last week about triggers, and she's like, well, it's real. PTSD is real, and I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying is we must take responsibility. If we can't take responsibility for what triggers us, which means that everyone's going to be a trigger, everything said, everything heard, everything smelled. We have to figure out, why does that trigger keep coming up? That's the awareness we're going to bring to ourselves this year. Why? Because we need to be healthy. And if we're always on guard, and always like anticipating somebody triggering us, that should just go ding-a-ling-a-ling in your head saying, I got work to do within me. I have work to do. Because you cannot continue into 2023 to blame people, places, and things. So my girlfriend tells me, and I said, no, I said, PTSD is real too, but then you can meet two people who came from the same place. One is very triggered and can't deal and goes on drugs and feels like the world is against him. And then the other one is badly wounded, has nightmares, but sought assistance, through someone to guide him to work through what he saw, because that's not an imaginary thing when you're in the service and the things you see. Because he knew that this was going to hold him back, it was going to take his life. He went somewhere to fight for a nation, and he was just sneered up in this nightmare. So I've met people this way. When group therapy for the ALS, you know that there's 60% of military with ALS. So I've heard many stories. And that always stood with me since 2012, January, February of 2012, when Eric and I started going to weekend group therapy with other ALS patients. And it never left me. And then I researched it, and I spoke with a lot of people through it all. And triggers and people like, you're triggering me. Well, take your sensitive ass over there to the corner and figure out why what I'm doing, who you barely know, is triggering you. And people have to, in January 2023, mi gente, share this, take it in. Take responsibility for yourself. Enough with, I'm trying to get better, but this one keeps pulling me down. If you know for a fact that someone is trying to barricade your route, if someone is leaking air from your tires, so every time you go a block, you have to stop, which then really sets you back 3 blocks, then you either got to remove that person from your life, or you must take a detour with the focus of your destination in mind. People, places, and things should no longer be an excuse, a burden, or something that stands in your way of becoming the best you can possibly be. Think of 2023 as that millionaire that lives within you. This is the year for them to come out. Whether you podcast, whether you write, whether you paint, whether you sing and dance, whether you're a hairstylist, it doesn't matter. You know that we all have talents that we do, and then we belittle ourselves by calling them hobbies. So the hobby that we ourselves put that such a I'll get, that's whenever I have free time, but I haven't had free time. So we're taking those gifts that Yahweh has given us, and we tucked it in the top drawer. And then we want to pray, Father God, please open doors for me. I need this, I need that. I'm trying to acquire this, but I don't have, the means. All the while, he's looking at your dresser like, I gave you everything you need to live an abundant life. So sit with yourself. Thursday, I will produce again my journal and the accompanied notebook. Milagros, if you're on, I finally received the finished product of the notebook. And then I'll be shipping your stuff out today. Write it down. I don't care if you journal or not. Start 2023. Look back at your life. What's changed? Have you had leaps, and have you climbed mountains, and have you got on the skis and maneuvered that ice, that snow-tipped ice, and went down? No. So if you haven't exhausted all your options to come out glowing the spirit you were meant to be in this life, then sit your ass down and start writing things that need to change, that need to be removed, and things that must be added into this new season of your life. You survived the holidays. Damn it, you can survive anything thrown your way. And that's what we have to do. We have to say, I showed up in whatever I had on. If you got to get up that morning and you got to put on that's me. Some bleach pair of pants, because all my clothes are always bleached when I'm home. And you have to put a bra on that day because the shirt you're wearing is just your headlights are going to be, they're going to be your high beams. Just wake up and show up for yourself. And if you're going to be home that day, if putting on earrings makes you feel pretty, if putting on eyeliner, whatever it is, do what makes you happy. In my journal, there's a page that asks you if you can be anything. Again, if you can be anything, what would you wear? Good morning, Arlene and Darlene. Okay. Hey, Melissa Hernandez. What would you wear? You know, I've asked several people that prior to the journal being completed. One executive director's like, I don't get it. And got kind of angry. And I said, did the question upset you? She goes, I just don't get it. When people who tend to believe that they know everything they need to know, and then they're thrown a question like that, they get upset. And then they don't like you because now you're making them think. And because they can't answer it, now they're right away, their wall goes up and they think you're trying to make fun of them. No. So I said it slowly. If you can be anything, what would you wear? Ugh. And there was somebody in her office and he said, a smile. And I said, that's absolutely correct. You can wear a smile, you can wear a fucking tutu to Sunday Mass. You know why? Because if you can be a lot of us are restricted to really giving 100% of what we're doing because we are not aware that we don't want to wear that uniform. We are not aware that our skin doesn't like that fabric on it for 8 hours a day. We are not aware of who we are and what we want and what road we want to travel on because we're living in a box and we believe we should do this, we should do that, and then we're a walking time bomb. Road rage. Somebody walked through the door you chose to hold open and they didn't say thank you and now you're angry. It's about being aware. We're gonna touch base on all this the awarenesses because people are like, oh, be awareness of who you are, be awareness of this. No, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because if we're going to talk about 4 topics, right, badass?
Yes.
4 topics in the first quarter. About
Well, I mean, it's awareness is 4 topics in the first quarter. Yes. Yep. Very good.
We're not just going to keep it to where, oh, it's presentable. No, fuck that. You want to be aware of things we need to change. And I don't know what you need to change. You don't know what I need to change. But as women and as a collective, we know that there are things we need to be made aware of as we're looking at that mirrored reflection and admitting to ourselves that things need to change. Not the way people speak to us or do this. Once we realize we need to change and let go of certain bad habits that have been hindering us, which is controlling, which is perfectionisms, you're never going to achieve that. What you're going to do is create havoc in other people who do love you because you're being an asshole, because there's no such thing as perfection. And if you want to be controlling, go and fold your underwear. Okay? So those are things that hinder us because we expect people to be sensitive to the facade of a life that we want to have control over. So again, everything we're going to talk about is about you, not about the people around you, because you can't control what people say and do. You can only control how you're going to react to it.
The only thing about the people around you is that's part of the awareness is to observe. Your job is to observe those people, those situations, their realities, their perceptions of the world, and do it with discernment because that is their life to live. You may not agree with it, but it's their life to live. And when the moment that we start going like this and, oh, you should and do that, again, it's that 1 finger forward, the 3 fingers back pointing to you. And that's when we have to stop ourselves and take a step back and say, okay, what is it? This is about my life. This is about who I am. So I'm going to be aware of all my environment, my surroundings, the people in them, the people I keep company with, and then ask myself the poignant questions, like, am I okay with my world? Am I okay with my environment, the people in it, the situations? I have to be aware of how I'm feeling at any given time. Am I being an asshole? Am I being kind? And who do I want to be? Like, I have to be aware of the now moment, if I'm getting triggered by something, like Gladiator Guru said, what's really triggering me? Is it my own unresolved stuff? Most of the time it is. Every so often, people can trigger you just because they're downright mean assholes. I mean, truly. Even when you have done your best to work on yourself and stay calm, they still say stuff that is just so annoying, and you just want to smack them across the face and say, you need to shut the hell up. So that again, it's an awareness. You take that step back. Why am I feeling this way? Because this person said this. Is it because I'm sensitive to it, or is it because I don't like what they have to say? Because
it's just bullshit.
Exactly. So it is all about you. Be selfish this month. Be selfish. Okay. It's not self-centered, it's centered self. We've talked about this before. You have the right to choose you, to step back, to say, I need the space. You have the right to be angry. You have the right to behave the way you do. However, you have to own it, though. That's just it. You have to own it. You can't sit there and get all angry and then lash out at somebody and then blame them because the way you lashed out. You have to own that piece of it. But when you constantly take that step back and observe your environment and observe your emotions and observe your mental status, it makes a huge difference. The clarity comes to you. I spent the last, off and on throughout 2022, but especially the last, I'd say 6 weeks of the year, there was a lot of anger for me. And I have to tell you, I came to the conclusion I'm tired of being angry. Like, I'm tired. Anger has a necessity. Anger is needed to create change, especially when something is wrong. But when you live with anger because of things you're not willing to let go of, that's not okay. And so I actually had to come to terms with the fact that in certain situations, very often, I was being an asshole. I was a bitch. And I had to own that piece of it. And I did. And something very interesting happened. I decided to start really owning my behaviors, the poor behaviors. I'm really looking at myself saying, what type of person am I representing? Like, who do I really want to be? Like, who do I want people to see? And for certain individuals, I have not been very kind to. And so I had to own that. I had to dissect why. I had to, and some of it was legit. Like, it wasn't legit stuff, but I had to own. And here's something that interesting that happened. Something that happened was I actually approached somebody and I apologized for my behavior because it wasn't fair the way I acted to that individual based on the situation at hand. Okay. And I very quickly learned that I did I said what I said, and I felt good about it, right? Because that's what I needed to do. It opened up the person decided that it gave them permission to come at me with a whole bunch of things that had nothing to do with them or me, and it had to do with a third party person. And I sat and listened, and I just sat there. And then when I would say one thing, the person would not listen, uh, distorted. Like, they were not willing to hear anything I had to say. They were not willing to hear my side of something. And I just sat back and I said, oh, and it was interesting is the observations that I had the whole entire year about this individual were spot on. Like it, but the beauty is that I went with it, letting go of that piece of judgment prior to understanding this person, and having a behavior that was not kind, but then coming to terms with the fact that, oh, okay, actually, I do see you for who you are. And you know what? I can go without any guilt. Not that I was guilting myself tremendously, but without any guilt to say, But you know what? I've come to the conclusion I actually don't want you in my life at all. Like before, I felt like I was coming from an incorrect observation and place. But then having that conversation really solidified for me that my gut was always right, but I'm choosing to handle it a little differently and speak
Mm-hmm.
my truth. The last 6 weeks of December for me, the awareness that I came into was the fact that there are still pieces of me that I have not spoken my truth. I have not lived my truth, and it has to do with certain people in my life. And I've decided that for 2023 and from this point going forward, that will no longer be the case,
Mm-hmm.
that I am speaking my truth. It may take me a few weeks to get it all out, but I am speaking and owning and living my truth. And I do not care what any of these people have to say about it because it is my life. Um, I don't want to be a person that, again, this is awareness. I'm I don't want any more transactional relationships in my life. I want unconditional love. I want unconditional. I want, and that again was about awareness. It was coming to terms with what that ache within my stomach and abdomen and in my head was pull, like constantly this ache, and then starting to realize that, you know what, you can live a life and be assertive, you can be discerning, and you can still be kind, and you don't have to have any obligations to anybody regardless of where they are, like what role they play in your life. You don't need them there if they're not allowing you to come out to your fullest. You know, like in other words, when Gail was talking about triggering, I've decided that the people in my life that seem to keep triggering me, the only way to not be triggered until I fully deal with this is to not have them around. And then those that I did figure out is the other thing is I don't need them around anyway. Like it's even past the trigger. Like, are these people the people that I want in my life? Are these people that I would call friends, that I would say, what is it that if they call me in the middle of the night, what is it I will help you with? And it's okay to say, you know what? No, I wouldn't. I don't like that person. And I'm okay with that. That doesn't make me a bad person. That's being true to myself.
And that's exactly what you just said is a misconception that many people who need to be loved, want to be liked, need want to be looked at as a person who's always helpful and everything. You know, when you have that mindset of I don't want them to think I'm like this because there's always times you've been guilty of it. But the misconception that you need to give a shit. When you walk
Yes,
in your truth, it's sometimes a very lonely journey
yes,
because people that you've known either all your life or you consider close friends can't handle the truth.
yes,
So when you
yes,
start that journey, be prepared to lose people in your life.
yes,
Be prepared to be insulted, misguided, so that you can stop progressing into the true you that you have been avoiding up until now. The
yes,
awareness that you are going to grow into the divine beauty that you were created for is going to make you feel lonely. That is the awareness of, do you have the faith to in, invoke that courage or pick up that courage to travel that road until you reach your tribe, which can take weeks or months. But the beginning of part of that journey, you're going to travel it alone. You're going to feel alone. That loneliness is going to be like an echo when you speak because there's not going to be nothing there. And instead of feeling fear, insecurities, instead of doubting yourself, dance,
yes.
dance, and
Be-
celebrate.
that self-doubt comes in when you are not aligned with who you are, and when you refuse to be aware of who you are and who you want to be, and embrace everything about you, even the stuff that's not where you want it to be. Your weight, your body shape, your emotional and mental well-being. You know, if you don't feel you're strong enough, if you don't feel that you're being heard, it doesn't, all of that, your whatever vulnerability you have, it doesn't matter, because you walk tall and you start working on yourself and you take that step back. And, you know, here's what I want you to do is after the show, not now, after the show, go on YouTube, because I love this scene. Go on YouTube and click on, in the search box, um, what's the name of the movie? What's the name of the movie? Oh my God. I totally blanked on it. What's the one with The Matrix? Go the very first Matrix movie, when the scene where he gets shot and killed. So where Neo dies. So you probably type that in and put Neo dies and in Matrix, and it's that scene where he's dead. He's dead. He's the one. He's supposed to be the savior, and he's dead. And the woman is believing in him, but he had to also believe in himself too. And all of a sudden, he comes to life. He defies the laws of the Matrix, because when you're dead in the Matrix, you're dead in real life. He comes back to life. And when he stands up, he sees the Matrix. He didn't see it before. It was there all along, but he had no awareness of it. And then once the Matrix was there, he realized that he had unlimited possibilities. That and all of a sudden he starts, I love the scene, because when he starts fighting with them, he's literally looking at his, he's watching his hand go, and he's looking at it like, but he's not like impressed. He's sort of like, how about that? His hand is moving at a rate at a speed that he never moved before. I love that scene, because that is what it's like when you do wake up to who you are, and when you step into that. When you step into that and you say, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody has to say. This is who I am. All the bruises and the cuts, but all the beauty as well. I'm here, and I'm just going to keep moving forward, because you are your truth, you know? And if you say, that's not the type of life I want to live anymore, that's your truth. I don't want to be around those people anymore. That's your truth. I can't live a lie anymore. That's your truth. And the truth always comes out. And Gail's right. You'll always find your tribe. Gladiator Guru's right. You'll always be lonely at first. You will be there by yourself. But you know what? Here's the cool part. You'll only be by yourself for a little while, because so many people are on this journey, and they are really the real. Like, they're the real people. They're not the people. You know the difference between the real people. Real people will listen to what you say, even if they don't agree with it. They'll hear it. They'll take it in, and then they'll digest it. And then they'll still do what they want to do, because they know their truth. But when you get a person that cuts you off and doesn't even want to hear what you have to say, they will not even take it in. They haven't aligned with they haven't connected to the universe. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. They really don't have that connection to that higher source or God. And that became very evident to me, again, through awareness, watching this. How easy is it for us to argue our point, to get louder, to stand up for ourselves, when sometimes the bravest thing that we can do is to sit back and let the person say what they need to say. And just because you know your truth. You don't have to argue your truth. That's the beauty, right? Would you say that? Gladiator Guru is like,
well, it all depends too, because I work on discernment. I've come a long way from where I've come from. I think I want to be fully aware. I want to be able to see clearly, and then use that proper discernment. But I don't want to also live a facade that, I'm living this alignment, and I'm doing this, so I'm not gonna get angry. No, I'm gonna tell somebody to go fuck themselves if they're getting on my nerves.
Yeah, but that's your truth, though, because you are aligned with who you are.
So I don't like people when I'm driving and Iritza, even with me, blow your horn. I don't like to blow my horn. You know what? If you need to get by and you're gonna cut me off, just don't hit me. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're gonna be
like, what the hell? And I went, and now it's like, go ahead. I don't know what's going on with people. Yesterday, I was told at work that one girl that I've only seen twice, but they irk. So she said, she's behind me walking, and she goes, "Oh, are you the famous Margie I've been hearing about?" I didn't like her tone. So, and I worked 16 hours that day. I was tired. So I'm walking ahead. I just looked over my shoulder. I didn't even stop, turn around. I just looked over my shoulder. I said, "Oh, I'm Margie," and believe everything you heard they told you, because I treat people accordingly. And she's like, "Oh, no, no, no. They only said good things." No, first of all, you didn't start that off right. But because that's how she started it off, then that's how I responded. End of conversation. I'm out. So then yesterday I heard that she said, "Oh, we don't like each other." And I'm like, "We are too many people. I don't have anything to say about this girl." If anything, when I heard that, I felt kind of sorry that she would come to that conclusion. Like, what are you going through in your life that either you were intimidated by my straightforwardness? Were you intimidated that I was like, "Yeah, that's me. What's up?" A lot of people think when they say certain things, you're supposed to like, I don't know, because I've never been those people. So what I'm saying is, going into this year, read the room. If you're going to be somewhere where there's other people, be so aware of you and your abilities that when you walk in, be polite, share kindness, be grateful you can be present, and read the fucking room, because not everybody's your friend. Not everybody has good intentions. Not everybody is grateful to be present in that moment. Maybe somebody felt forced, or maybe they had to go to show face because, people pleasing. You don't know what's going on with them, but just know this: it's not about you.
Yep.
So don't invite negative energies from people around you into your being. Leave it where it's at. You leave, you brush it off, and you keep going on with your day, because you're going to come to that. You're going to be in those rooms with that type of energy. You can't avoid it. But what you can do is protect your space. And everything the badass Buddha just said right now, when you argue with people, when you feel you got to prove your point, think about it. You're exhausted after
Who are
that
you really trying
confrontation.
to prove it to? Really?
But you're exhausted. Why? Because you just gave your energy away on something that wasn't even worth
Yep.
a spit of saliva coming out your mouth.
That's awareness. That it takes awareness for you to, because really when you're trying to argue your point, who are you really arguing against?
Mm.
It's that you have got to be, and I had to sit with that for a long time for myself, because I mean, I have a lot of education behind me, and a lot of insecurity I had as well, and it still creeps up here and there. And when you combine those two, you like to try to make yourself look smart, because people have to know what you know, because it fills that whatever is lacking within you. And I've learned over the years that I don't have to do that. I mean, when I'm in a teaching mode, I'm teaching. So I'm going to say stuff. But if I'm having a conversation with somebody, and that's the beauty of awareness, when you stop and really, like Margie said, read the room, be the observer, sit periodically and just watch people, listen to conversations. It's hilarious. I know there's somebody that I know that actually this happens a lot. um I will meet people, but there's some particular person that's close in my life that name droppers. They're name droppers. They have to always pull into the conversation some way, somehow, somebody famous that they met or worked with or did business with. And I sit and I listen to this, and it's interesting because once you become aware of this, and it's the same people that do it. And when they do it a lot, I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong. I mean, I met a handful of famous people in my life. I even partied with a couple, but I don't have to pull it into the conversation. Even when I might even, know like that person comes up in conversation, I kind of hold back and say, Do I want to mention it? Do I need to mention it? Who am I mentioning it for? Just to have a conversation or just to be able to put myself out there? And I stop and I'm like, I don't need that validation. I don't need to be able to link myself to that famous person just to be able to say, oh, I met that person, you know? Like if I met somebody famous and the conversation was about the person and they weren't really nice or they were really friendly, I would say, you know, I actually met that person and they were pretty cool. Or I met that person, they were kind of an asshole. But that might be that, and that's it. You know, it's not something that I pull in all the time. So once you start observing, read the room, look at their body language, listen to what Margie said was so key. When that person said that to her, Margie didn't hear the words. Margie heard how it was said. And that is the key, because that is where deception comes in. And she hit it right on the nose, because listen, if somebody heard fabulous stuff about her, guess how they would reach out to her? Oh my God, are you the famous Margie? I heard so much about you. Like that's how it would have been said, not in that very condescending or judgmental tone.
And as you're behind me, walking behind me, like, first of all, I don't know you. And I'm rushing. I was supposed to be out of work at 7 in the morning. It's 7:45 now, and I'm behind. So all that I didn't need to ask who said it or anything. I said, I'm Margie, and believe everything they said.
And that was such a badass statement, because most of the time we'll step back and we'll be like, oh, why? What'd you hear? You know, that is brilliant, because she basically said, whatever you heard, all true. I own it.
I treat people accordingly. That's what I said. And so then last night I heard that, she didn't like me. And at first I was like, okay, but well, because, I'm Margie. And I've been known to speak my truth as raw as it can, whatever the moment was. And then I was like, no, I didn't. I just let her know. It's not my business what people are talking about me. You ask, am I Margie? Well, yes, I am. And so I said, when I see her again, I'm going to be very kind to her, because it's obvious she's going through a hard time in her life. And she was very intimidated by me, which then led to dislike, enough for her to tell people who work with me that she doesn't like me.
Without
And
knowing
so
you.
that's a cry for help to me.
Yes.
Margie from 5 years ago would have been all up in your face. This
Yes.
Margie is very much more pleasant, very much more awake, and very much more so in love with Yahweh and Yeshua that, you know what? God is the one that has led me out of darkness many times in my life. I don't have a religion, but you know what? What have I become aware of in December? That God can be anybody, can be anything. Anybody's called a God. But I learned that Yahweh, I want to call him by his name, Elohim, El Shaddai, Rapha, and Jesus, the J wasn't even created during that language era. His name is Yeshua. And I'm falling in love with those names because I am so adamant on how you say my name. And how dare we just say God when in the Ten Commandments, he says, call me by my name. He created the world with words. I have always had an issue with people wording and vocalizing my name erroneously, that it felt like nails on a chalkboard. So that's one thing I became aware of. What I put my faith in, what I believe, when I believe in Yahweh, I believe that he created me as different as my fingerprints are to anybody else's in the world. So why am I following the masses? Why do I have to subject myself to being less than around certain people, or pretend to be more than around certain people? And then when I'm home, I'm feeling hopeless and helpless because I'm losing myself. Enough. Let's take the beginning of 2023, mi gente, and say, I am going to be the best that I was born to be. I am going to become my purpose. I am going to seek what my purpose is. in this world. I am going to be aware of who are the people that are meant to be in my life, because that is how you grow. That is how you stand on solid foundation.
That's
That
right.
is how you protect your peace and invite your power to always stay with you. That is how you become the full you that you are supposed to be. And that's when you can recognize your triggers, when you can let go of memories that hinder you, that you have grown so accustomed to that you invoke them just so you can feel something because you don't want to confront it. Stop feeling yesterday's pain, rip the fucking band-aid off, confront the person, the place, the thing, look in the mirror, tell yourself you're going to work through it, and be aware of every single thing that is gorgeous and happy and beautiful in your life. And that's it. Drop mic.
Awareness starts with sitting down and really just giving yourself some space, asking questions, looking around, hearing, and looking within, deciding what's working, what's not, what you like, what you don't like. And sometimes you can use outside sources like this program. You could work with somebody if you wanted to, but you can also read, you can watch things. You know what I ended up doing 3 days ago, because part of my thing is I've also been going through just a really I'm aware of the fact that I am grieving. I'm aware of the fact that I'm just been in a space, and part of that is I'm allowing myself to be distracted. I'm making myself distracted by things, and not doing what I really should be doing. I'm a shit on myself, but I decided to do this little change. I decided, instead of distracting myself with movies or TV shows that I've seen before, I decided to watch some things that I hadn't seen before. And I went online and I looked up a list of the most inspirational movies. And some of them I had seen before. And I said, I would love to watch it again, but I'm going to wait. Let me watch the newer ones. And I have watched 4 movies in the last 3 days that have been so incredible. One of which I'm actually going to put on here, and I'm going to put in here, and I would highly recommend you take a moment to watch this. It's called Everything Everywhere All at Once, and this is it was released in 2022. It is such a cool movie. But I watched another movie called Chef. I watched another movie. I
Oh,
don't
I
know.
love Chef.
Chef was so good.
Oh, I
And
love it. I've watched it 3 times. Is that the
yeah,
one? That's the one with
the food truck. Yeah,
yes.
John Leguizamo. Yeah.
And
Yep. Yep. And then I watched Brittany Runs a Marathon.
oh
And
my
it
God, was that not so inspirational?
such a so this is what I know I needed. This is what I became aware of. I needed that little extra oomph, that little push to say, you got this. Like you can do this. This is, and I did it in, like, Chef is a comedy. Brittany Runs a Marathon is like a comedy, but it's also drama.
But it's also a true
Everything Everywhere
story.
All at Once is the same thing. It's like a comedy drama. You would love that one, Gladiator. I would recommend that one.
What
To
is it
you.
on Netflix?
Uh, I don't remember if it was, I forgot where I watched it. I got it on the TV and it just popped up, and I can't remember if it was Prime, Netflix, Hulu, one of those. Oh, it might have been HBO. I don't know.
Okay.
But just look it up because it's fabulous, and it's worth the $3 rental. I will tell you that it's worth it all day long. But do the things. Sit with in January. Make this the month of awareness for you. Make it the rest. It doesn't mean that if your intention is to lose weight, that we're saying to, well, Gladiator Guru and Badass Buddha said to rest for January, so I'm not going to. No, listen, be aware. If you want to start cutting out certain things that you eat, moving around, then do it. I'm not saying not to do that. But instead of putting that pressure on yourself and saying, well, I've got to cut this out, and I've got to move every day, and I've got to get to the gym, say to yourself, the only thing you've got to do is be more aware of yourself and give yourself that space and rest and decide what the hell is going to happen for you for 2023 and make it stick. So if moving is going to be your thing, not exercise, moving, then move any way, shape, or form. You could go to the gym, but if you can't get to the gym, don't guilt yourself and then say, oh, I never got to the gym, so screw this. That's where it stops. Say, no, I could move today. I could go put some salsa music on and dance. I could play with my
Dance
kids.
from the kitchen to the bathroom and back. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
But you said
So,
something. You
yes.
said January, sit down, find a place to sit down, do that. But also, in this month of inviting uh, awareness into your life, that means you're going to have to dust off the blinds and open them, maybe raise them up certain times of the day and let the natural sunlight come in. And where the badass Buddha says, sit down and breathe. And you're right, just because you're taking a rest, you're taking a load off your feet, you're unburdening your brain, right? But also, I would say, because it's I can't wait for the first rain for January, because I'm gonna go out and dance in the rain. Why? Because I love rainy days. We've talked about this in the show. I live in the Sunshine State and it depresses the fuck out of me. I love, like, the other day was like overcast, and my niece like, ugh, it looks like a Bridgeport day. And I look at her and I said, people are always talking about how dingy Bridgeport looks, but I love those overcast days because it's that neutral part in my life. Too much sunshine and too much, like, if I'm a night owl. But those cloudy days is that in between, that white and black, but then you got the gray area. But let me tell you, I love rainy days. I love rainy days. I love rainy nights. I don't own an umbrella because I can honestly tell you, when I love something, why am I going to hide from it? I don't own an umbrella. I hate when people offer me umbrellas. So choose where you're most comfortable at. Now, I know that if I was back home right now and it was raining, my ass ain't going to dance in the rain because it's cold. That I'm here in Florida and I can do that. But in the summers, I
But
remember
that's your
going.
awareness. Your awareness says you love the rain, but you have some criteria behind that.
I love the rain. So, you know what? Ask yourself that. If I love the rain, why do I have 3 or 4 umbrellas? Because they were in style, because they're a cutter, or because I don't want my hair to get wet going from one place to another? Ask yourself. I'm not saying don't own an umbrella. I'm telling you how I am. If I love you, I'm going to love you with every fiber of my being. If I have a problem with you, I am going to confront you and I am going to ask every single question so that when we leave, we walk away from one another, we either have clarity or we have ended something. So if you're going, be aware that beginning now of your life, be aware of everything and don't leave anything unattended that's going to drag into the rest of the year. If that friendship needs to end it. If that relationship needs to end it. If you need to leave that job, fucking leave it. Become successfully unemployed until you find something you love. You know why? Because you're not going to die. You're not going to starve to death. And that in-between period, you know what? That's when you discover who your friends are, who your family are. There's so many tests we got to go through. God said, he didn't say it would be easy. He said it would be worth it. Have faith. Take a leap of faith on yourself this year. And don't let anybody stop you from being the best version of yourself that you were born to be. That is why the badass Buddha and I spoke for hours the other day to figure out how and when and what and all the possibilities to bring the first quarter of this year all about awareness. Because at the end of the day, mi gente, it starts with you. It starts with your desires to be better. It starts with your desire to heal. It is your desire to exist in your now that is going to propel you into the realm of awareness. And with that, Steel Magnolias Milagros is one of my all-time favorite. And I love the part when they're at the cemetery and the other one says, hit Weezer, hit her hard. So, yeah. So, I mean, there's always little bits of movies, and there, I just watched When Harry Met Sally the other day. It is such a
Oh, I
old
watched it the
flick,
other day too. That's so funny. I watched it the other day too.
because sometimes we need to go back to where our youth, where our prime was, to see what was going on and to know, you know what? It's like everything. We are all a millionaire waiting to break out of ourselves. Stop. Stop being that what's that word I want? Stop blocking your own blessings. Take a leap of faith. Speak to your higher power. Ask for guidance and clarity those days that you don't have the energy to do nothing or do something. Because sometimes you're like, you're spinning. Like, what the hell do I do? I don't want to sit down and do nothing, but I don't have the energy to do this. And figure it out. Lay on the floor if you have to. Figure it out. It's your time, and our time is limited. For every beginning,
Our
there's
time
an
is
end
limited. That's
for
the
new
thing. Our time is
beginnings.
limited. Yeah.
Everything in life ends, right? There's a word I was trying to figure out. So let's just be happy. Let's keep our faith intact. Whoever it is you're doing, me is Yahweh, and let's move forward into 2023 with a bang. Let's dance into it. Let's salsa, cha cha cha. I don't care if you're gonna country line dance. Pick your favorite song and let's saunter into it with grace, with peace, and with gumption. And that's it. That's all I have.
You sure? Take a breath, our beautiful tribe. Take a breath, because this is it. This is it. This is enough already. No more. No mas. No holding back anymore. If it's not now, when? Gladiator Guru's right. We have no idea how long we're here on this earth. We would like to say that we're going to be here till 90, 100 years old, but we don't know. And how many years? Look back. Don't get depressed about it, but look back. That's the awareness. Awareness isn't always about being present. Awareness is just being aware of the past. How did that go for you? How have the last few years been for you? And if you're looking back that going, not great, then what the hell are you going to do about it? That's the big question. What are you going to do about it? So some of the questions that were popped up were, what am I not saying? We've asked you this already. What am I holding back? What are you going to do about it? If you make a big list in January and you become aware of your life, who you are, and what's happened in the past, and how your life's been, and if you're not 100% satisfied, then the big question is, what are you going to do about it? And I always hear that, because that was such a big line for me from Gladiator Guru. She didn't say it that way. She just said, what did you learn from that? But the other line with that would be, and what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Oh, I'm just going to sit and do nothing. How many times have you heard that in a movie? That's not inspirational, And that, could you imagine if a movie ended that way? How many movies, the inspirational movies, the person does that and they're like, I'm just going to do nothing. And they do. They go into that lull, but then they get inspired and they do something. What if the movie actually ended that way? How frustrating would that be? Yeah, I'm just going to do nothing. And then closes. You'd be like, what the hell did I just pay for? Like, did I just pay $20 for this person to do nothing?
That would be a great movie, actually.
That would be
it'll wake you the fuck up.
Yes.
You wasted money to get inspiration from actors on a screen who let you down, but the biggest letdown was you paying to watch a movie from actors on the screen who let you down. So you see it's revolving.
And, oh my God.
It always points back to you. So when the badass Buddha said in the beginning of the show today, remember, when you point that finger out, there's 3 pointing back at you. That's life. Stop blaming people, places, and things. Let's brace ourselves. Let's love ourselves enough to be the best self that God created us to be.
Great. Fabulous.
And shout out to Bridget from Necessities 101 for the earrings. I got them in the mail and I absolutely love them. and they're turquoise. And so I needed to give a shout out because she was a small business shout out. So there you go. Necessities 101, mi gente.
And with that, we will see you on Thursday, where Thursday we are, and it's funny that Gail put this in the comments. It's what did I add? Oh, I don't have my thing there. It's what are you looking at in the mirror? When you look in that mirror, who are you actually seeing? Are you actually seeing yourself? Or are you seeing other people? But it's all about being aware of what's really in front of you. So again, the whole month is focused on awareness, as will be our guests. We're going to be talking about awareness. So you have no choice but to learn this stuff. You have a whole month of it. So take notes. And there
Yes.
are milagros. Once again, milagros.
Walking like a diva among the drop of water is wonderful. Oh, thank you. I didn't see that was going up because my Titi Dolly was on. Bendición
Yep.
Titi. I love when she comes on, which is Iritza's mom. I'm telling you, Iritza is just wonderful sharing this show.
Yes.
We are amazed at everything that comes on. But yes, go back. You know, we're on YouTube. If you need to go back and listen to, and then you can control it, fast forward, rewind to the parts that you want to hear, because everybody will get something different from today's broadcast. But what you get will be given as a gift to propel you forward. So stay tuned, like, subscribe, comment, share, because Viva is on a roll starting today, the 3rd of January, on until the end of the year. We're going to be on and popping and changing our lives to assist you to change yours. And that's what we do. So, mi gente,
Yes.
we will bid our farewell.
Yep. From Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.